Has a problem similar to this ever confused you before? Well, in today's video, we're going over axis of symmetry. Let's do it. Okay, what is the equation of the axis of symmetry for the graph of the quadratic equation y equals 2x squared minus 16x plus 1? Alright, so first we need to know what a quadratic equation. A quadratic equation in standard form is always written as ax squared plus bx plus c, alright? Now, how would you graph this? Because they're asking for the graph of the quadratic equation. The graph of a quadratic equation is called a parabola. A parabola is kind of like a U. It could be upside up or upside down. However, in this parabola, it's always symmetrical, meaning you can divide it by the middle right here at this point, or in this case, at this point. So the point at which you divide it by, or this entire line, is called the axis of symmetry, or AOS. Alright, so we need to find the axis of symmetry for the graph of this quadratic equation, 2x squared minus 16x plus 1. Alright, so the formula for finding the axis of symmetry of a quadratic equation is minus b divided by 2 times a. Alright, so if we look at this standard form equation, ax squared plus bx plus c, we can see that we have the values of a and b right here. Those are the two values we need for this equation. So first let's take the value of b. The value of b is the coefficient of the x to the power of 1. So in this case, this is the x to the power of 1, and this is its coefficient, negative 16. That means b is negative 16. So negative of b is positive 16. 16 divided by 2a. So a is 2 because it's the coefficient of x squared, and 2 times 2 is 4, so this becomes 16 divided by 4. 16 divided by 4 is 4, and that's your answer. Next, find the coordinates of the vertex of the graph of the quadratic equation 4x squared plus 48x plus 21. Alright, so first, we know that the formula for a quadratic equation is always ax squared plus bx plus c. This is always the standard form of a quadratic equation. And we know the formula for axis of symmetry, or AOS, is negative b divided by 2a. Alright, now what is the coordinates of the vertex? So if you remember what we talked about in the last problem, we have the parabola. That is the graph of the quadratic equation. When you split it in half, down the middle, that's your axis of symmetry, and it meets this parabola on a single point. So this single point is the vertex. Now, how do you find the vertex? Well, the x is just the x of the axis of symmetry. So if the axis of symmetry is 2, then the x value of the coordinate will also be 2. But in this case, it's not, because we don't know what the axis of symmetry is. So what we need to do is we first need to solve for the axis of symmetry using this equation, negative b divided by 2a, and then substitute that value of x back into the equation given to solve for the y, and then we'll get our final coordinate in this right here. So let's solve. So we negative b divided by 2a. So we're given the formula 4x squared plus 48x plus 21. So our a value is 4 because it's the coefficient of x squared. So 2 times 4 is 8. So 8 on the bottom as the denominator, but now we need to figure out the top. So the coefficient of x, or the b value, is 48. So the negative of that is just negative 48. So now we have negative 48 divided by 8. That is negative 6. Alright, so now we know what our x value is. So that's negative 6. Now what we need to do is we need to plug this negative 6 in back into this equation up here to solve for y. Alright, so let's do that. So we have 4 times negative 6 squared plus 48 times negative 6 plus 21. Alright, so first, 4 times negative 6 squared. Well, we have to do the negative 6 squared first. Negative 6 squared is 36. Next, now we have to do 4 times 36. 4 times 36 is 144. Alright, next, now we have to do 48 times negative 6. 48 times negative 6 is negative 288. So this becomes a negative sign, and we subtract 288. Next, we add this 21 because we don't have to do any multiplication or division. Alright, now we have 144 minus 288. 144 minus 288 is negative 144. Now we can add the 21. Negative 144 plus 21 equals negative 123. So that's our y value. So we can plug this in right here to make the coordinate of the vertex of the graph of the quadratic equation negative 6 and negative 123. And that's your answer. Next, what is the sum of the coordinates of the vertex of the quadratic equation x squared plus 6x minus 4 equals y? Alright, so in this quadratic equation, we already know how to solve for the coordinates of the vertex of the quadratic equation. So we first would find the axis of symmetry, which is negative b divided by 2a. Then we would substitute this value into the original equation, which is x squared plus 6x minus 4. And then whatever we get from that is equal to our y value. And then we will put both this axis of symmetry and the y value into one final coordinate right here. Alright, so this coordinate will contain the x and the y value like this. So let's solve. So first, negative b divided by 2a. Well, if we have the equation x squared plus 6x minus 4, our b value is the coefficient of the second term, which is the 6x, so the coefficient is 6. So that means b is 6, so negative b is negative 6. Next, 2a. Since there's no number listed as the coefficient of the first term, or in this case the coefficient, which is a, we can just say that a is 1. So 2 times 1 is 2. So this just becomes negative 6 divided by 2. And that gets you negative 3. Alright, now we can substitute this value of negative 3 back into this equation. So that's negative 3 squared plus 6 times negative 3 minus 4. Alright, so first, negative 3 squared. So that's just negative 3 times negative 3, which is positive 9. Because when you multiply a negative number by a negative number, it becomes a positive number. Next, 6 times negative 3. That is negative 18. Because 6 times 3 is 18, so 6 times negative 3 is negative 18. Finally, minus 4. Alright, 9 minus 18 is negative 9. And negative 9 minus 4 is negative 13. So now that's your y value. Now we can put this into a coordinate equation and then solve this problem. So we have the x value of negative 3. Negative 3 and the y value of negative 13. So we can just add negative 3 and negative 13 to get negative 16. And that's your answer. Next, the vertex of the quadratic equation 0 is equal to 3x squared plus 12x minus 8 has the coordinates a and b. If the vertex is translated 9 units to the right and up 15 units, what are its new coordinates? Alright, this is very similar to the last problem. All we have to do is, we need to find the vertex of the quadratic equation, and then just add 9 units to it, because we're going to the right 9, and add 15 units to the y because we're going up 15. So we can solve this. So first, we have the equation 3x squared plus 12x minus 8. Alright, so first let's find out what our a, b values are for the axis of symmetry equation. So first, the a value is 3 because it's the coefficient of the first term, and the b value is 12 because it's the coefficient of the second term. So if you plug it into the negative b over 2a formula, that gets us negative 12 divided by 6. Negative 12 divided by 6 is negative 2. Alright, so that's the x coordinate in the vertex of the quadratic equation and the axis of symmetry. Next, we can find the y value by substituting negative 2 in for x. So this becomes 3 times negative 2 squared plus 12 times negative 2 minus 8. So negative 2 squared is just 4 because negative 2 times negative 2 is 4. 3 times 4 is 12. Next, 12 times negative 2 is negative 24, so we subtract 24. Finally, we subtract 8. So 12 minus 24 is negative 12, and 12 minus 8, or negative 12 minus 8, because it's two negative numbers, is negative 20. So that's our y value. So now we have the x value of negative 2 and the y value of negative 20. Alright, so that is the vertex of the quadratic equation. Now we need to add 9 to the x value and add 15 to the y value. So this becomes Negative 2 plus 9, which is 7, and negative 20 plus 15, which is negative 5. And that's your answer. Alright, that's it. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, please make sure to show your support. These videos take a lot of effort to make, and I would really appreciate it.